Good evening, I'm the Friendly Senpai, and today we're going to be talking about Fatal 12, a visual novel created by a something company I can't pronounce and published by Sakai Project, who sent me a review code for this over a year ago, and I only just got around to finally reviewing it because I am a certified piece of shit that allowed a lot of stuff in my life get to me. Also, if you hear a fan or something weird in the background, it's because it is 102 degrees in Florida right now, and my fan is just, if I move it away from me, I'm going to die. Anyways, Fatal 12 tells the story of Rinka, a high school girl that dies in a mysterious explosion on what should have been a normal morning on her way to school. Except 11 other people died at the exact same moment, each in their own different ways, and it triggers an event where they all must partake in a game to compete for a second chance at life. Or something. In order to win the game, you must eliminate the 11 other players by calling out their names, how they died, and their life's greatest regrets. And these regrets can range from not being able to ensure that their child ventures through life with the name that you wanted for them, to never having a dog. When you get all three of these details, you can elect another participant during the next meeting, reveal your cards, and then you must live through their final moments before they are permadead. Once they're dead, you can choose from one of three cards that will give you a detail of one of the still surviving participants. If by this point you are getting some serious Future Diary vibes, that's perfectly understandable because I did too. In fact, if this game wasn't directly inspired by Future Diary, I will eat my hat. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because, as I mentioned in my review of Future Diary, it was a series that could have been improved. But I don't know if this is what I would call an improvement. Now, at first glance, Fatal 12 is fucking gorgeous. It features an animated main menu and an animated in-game menu screen, which already tickles my giblets just because that shit is so fucking cool and unnecessary. And look, I will always give bonus points for style. It doesn't hurt that the art is pretty fucking fantastic either. I mean, all of the characters are beautifully digitally painted. The textures are natural and free-flowing, the hair looks glossy and silky, the eyes are all different shapes and sizes, and the skin coloring is very dimensional, which is a welcome reprieve from the typical flat, cell-shaded coloring that's just accented by blushes. Not to mention, these characters all have different outfits, different poses, and expressions to provide a myriad of sprites that will constantly keep you visually engaged. Could the character artists have paid a little more attention to the anatomy of their characters? Sure, but Lady Kasame here has pointed teeth, so I'll overlook a spinal deformity. Also, the background art is not as clean and crisp as most non-OEL visual novels at times, but it works really well with the very line art heavy sprites, so I don't really have many complaints about that. It's all very, very good with thousands of minute details hidden within each and every scene. I, of course, have to praise the art created for the game stage with all of the gears and the podiums because it's nothing short of spectacular. It's so fucking pretty and shiny, and I can't think of any way for the artist to have improved. I do also wish to commend the composer of the game's soundtrack, Low, for binding everything together in a way that wasn't distracting, but was still a clear display of skill and creativity. The cherry on top is that it is fully voiced, and this is in part thanks to Sakai Project's marketing team managed to garner $50,000 on their Kickstarter, with every character having a dedicated voice actor that acted out every single line of dialogue. Which is saying something because this game was hella long. Unfortunately, for as much as I want to praise Fatal 12 for being visually stunning with fantastic audio quality, the writing was not up to par. Now, before I say anything else, I want to clarify that the translation was one of the best I have ever seen. It breaks my heart to see well-written stories get ripped into coherent nothingness by an unskilled translation team, but Sakai Project staff did a bomb-ass job at localizing this game. The problem is, for as fluid and colorful as the prose was, it failed to grip me. Whenever I sat down to play this game, I wasn't terribly excited to continue the story. It is well written in the sense that I can feel what each character feels in that moment, and I can see what is happening in my mind's eye thanks to the colorful imagery that the narrative paints for you, but there's nothing there that actually kept me interested. The main character had the personality of whatever mold is growing on Grimgrin's ass. Miharu's blind devotion and unyielding love for Rinka came off as forced and just generally unnecessary, and I failed to understand why the writer put any sort of emphasis on Rinka's high school life. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I had to teach myself how to become a private investigator on the fly to save my life, I wouldn't be terribly concerned with maintaining my GPA. Also, I don't give a shit about how Rinka forgot to grab a spoon for her curry. Who cares? The only thing that was ever really interesting was when we were given a glimpse into the lives of the other ritual participants, because their lives were actually interesting. But speaking of the other characters, it doesn't sit right with me to see that all of the cruel and hot-headed characters are brown-skinned. The girl in the beginning with the bomb, brown-skinned. The shark-toothed bodybuilder lady that was ready to ruthlessly elect her opponents and beat the shit out of them, dark-skinned. The guy that immediately elected someone on the first night without a moment's hesitation and was ready to slaughter infants to get someone's regret card, dark-skinned. When the rest of the characters are generally kind people put in a bad situation, it's something that I noticed, and you can take that as you will. Back on track, I will admit that I didn't finish this game. Normally, I refuse to review something if I haven't 100%ed it, which is why I sank so many hours into games like Oz Mafia and No Thank You. But this is just, it was boring. I wasn't interested in it at all. With several choices to make throughout the game to obtain a number of different endings, I only completed my first playthrough. I feel bad for saying that because a part of me really wanted to enjoy this, but it's just not exciting enough to pull off the premise that it's trying to pull off. Rinka is just a high schooler that stumbled across random bits of information that wasn't handed to her by others, and there's nothing fun about that. If it weren't for the other characters' scenes breaking up the monotony of Rinka's story, I wouldn't have been able to invest the 20 hours that I managed to devote to it as it was. With that said, I won't say that the game isn't worth its price. For $20, you're getting a ton of replay value, great art, and some pretty bomb music. And some people did say that they found it to be very good. I personally just didn't find that it could keep my attention long enough to really bother with going through the other routes. So, as much as I didn't like it, there is a very good chance that you could have. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Fatal 12, the visual novel published by Sakai Project last year. Feel free to leave me with any questions or concerns or just your own personal opinion in the comments below. Otherwise, hopefully I will see you guys again very soon.